SMT Nation, we back. Nation, I want to take a look at this article with you guys here today. Really, it's just one major concept from it. I'm not going to dissect the whole thing. We did cover a lot of these things in the T-Mobile earnings live stream, and there's some other topics we've discussed between then and now. But this one I think is important because it's become commentary amongst other creators as well, and it's worth mentioning, and it impacts customers directly. All right. Title of the article, T-Mobile leaves the door open to price increases. And I want to explain and justify my position as to, why I think this is a bigger deal than what some people are making. And I also want to kind of talk about how I think T-Mobile is going to play this. All right. So the link for the article will be in the description. I'll provide it. It'll be down there, as well as ways to support us. You guys can like and share, and that helps out the channel. And then ways to support us directly with like Patreon, YouTube memberships. You can buy us a coffee. Different ways to do that in the description as well. All right, so the subtitle, T-Mobile continues to rake in new smartphone and fixed wireless customers. Company officials suggest the operator may take steps to raise the prices in the same way the rivals have done. All right, so I listened to the whole earnings call, and I remember those statements from, CEO Mike Sievert. I wrote those same sentiments down. I thought to myself, this sure does sound like a company that feels like a price hike or price hikes could be coming in 2024. Now, they still are growing. If you look at these numbers, they are very good. 934,000 net postpaid phone net adds, 541,000 on the fixed wireless. They kind of sort of raised fixed wireless, 5G home internet pricing. What they did was they got rid of the promotional offer, and now it's back to the normal pricing. Usually when a company does that, they're obviously emphasizing margins. They're looking for better profits. The demand is still pretty high, so they feel comfortable doing that. So that's part of that equation. I think some of that still exists also with postpaid, with the phone net ads, as you see Verizon is raising rates on legacy customers with price increases. And, AT&T mentioned at their earnings conference that they'd be looking to possibly have price action in 2024. T-Mobile's going to see what they can get away with too, folks. His quote, CEO Mike Sievert, we're in an era of unprecedented value. It's like customers with smartphones are getting 3 times more data than just 5 years ago alongside faster speeds. So there's something to be said about that, right? If a customer is using more data and getting more usage and utility out of a connection or what have you, then, the carrier has a right to justify, getting more out of the customer. The whole concept of unlimited plans obviously is use as much as you want, but don't use too much or else we're going to ding you, and we have speculated that in the near future, and maybe not near, maybe midterm to long term, the construct of the unlimited plan changes. But in the time being, there are some customers who are using an incredible amount of data, and more folks are using more data every year. So you have more connections going online, you have more people adding secondary connections, and then you have more people doing more with their connections, right? So 30% increase of usage every year, more connections every year. And the company is going to be looking for what he calls optimizations. I wrote that down in my notes during the call too, right? Ways to improve the company's margins and profits. And part of that's going to be with price increases. And I'm not saying that they're going to be substantial, right? I mean, if they were to increase a price for a service by $5 a month, is that going to make or break the customer? I don't think so. I think the customer also understands that their connections are non-negotiable and they need them. So they'll take it on the chin. And since all carriers are basically raising prices, where are you going to go? Right? And if you look at the competitors, AT&T was very careful about their price increase. It was 99 cents to all their plans, right? So that was very subtle. And then what Verizon did was they've been hitting all of their legacy plans. And basically what they're probably going to start doing, based on what we see with my plan, is every year they're going to make new plans, and then the old plans become legacy plans, and then they raise the prices on those legacy plans. That's what they're going to do. So what is T-Mobile going to do? I don't know. T-Mobile's been kind of doing the same thing. They change their plans frequently now. And back in the day, T-Mobile was changing their plans like every 4 years. You know, it was a big deal when they went from, you know, Simple Choice to T-Mobile One. And then it was a big deal when they went from T-Mobile One to Magenta. And then from Magenta and added Magenta MAX. And then you notice that they have to do that in order to get more out of the customer. They have to change the plan name, change the construct, ask for more money, try to give you more perceived value within the plans and stuff like that. That's probably what we're going to continue to see. I think that's the playbook, because we've noticed that overall as an industry, the churn rates are relatively low as an industry, right? So I don't know. T-Mobile, I think, has to be a little careful with their legacy customer. They're the sensitive ones. The new customers, the ones that churn from like big cable or AT&T and Verizon, those are more resilient customers that have been paying more for service anyway. So they're not going to be the ones that are hard to deal with and hard to explain. You got to pay more for service. It's the legacy ones. That's where I think T-Mobile can get in trouble. It could make their already industry worst churn worse, right? They're at 0.96. Their competitors are at 0.88 and 0.84. So they've got to be careful how they handle it. In my prediction, or what have you, what I think is going to happen is they'll wait for some of the other guys to do some stuff with pricing and then maybe do theirs. But at this point, you know, they still try to remain the perceived price leader and offer the best value. And now that the networking for Verizon and AT&T is catching up, it's going to be harder to publicly show differentiation in networking when the others have highly capacitive networks as well, and especially in the 5G side, which, you know, that was T-Mobile's thing for the last several years. Now they're going to have to continue to push the value narrative. All right, so tell me your thoughts and opinions on this. Sound off in the comment section below. You know, the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.